Happy Friday, folks. Weekend's almost upon us. In fact, if you stand on your tiptoes, you can see the weekend from here. I'm Dan Kuntz. It is Friday, 27th day of March, 2026. And this is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. It is a beautiful but rather chilly morning. It's 30 degrees here in the big city. Very nice day today. We're under the influence of high pressure, which began to really exert itself yesterday. Of course, high pressure and clear skies means pretty chilly overnight lows, even this time of the year. But we're in for a pretty nice stretch of weather until we get to about Tuesday of next week. And then a frontal system is going to come down from the Gulf of Alaska, going to make things a little on the unsettled side. Ouch, that hurt. So we're April is going to begin kind of iffy. Forecast details are coming up. Yes, I just spun, which is quite painful. News, lots. A lot of news. Sports, lots. It's Friday, and it's March. Mariners, as you know by now, did not beat the Guardians on opening day. 6-4 was the final there. Highlights from T-Mobile Park. But the Kraken went on the road and beat one of the best teams in the NHL in the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they did it in overtime. That's just what the doctor ordered for the Kraken if they hope to make the Stanley Cup playoffs. We'll preview the weekend in sports. We're going to have the Wenatchee Eastmont girls fast pitch softball doubleheader for you. Today, the first game will be streaming. The second game will be on television. That'll be later on today. Going to be a long day for a couple of us here at the Broadcast Metroplex. And we're going to take you back to an interview that our very own Jenni Rodas did with Sergeant Joe Eaton with the Wenatchee Police Department. It's all about the Decker case, of course, and the Decker girls went missing. The Washington State Patrol issued an endangered missing person alert rather than an Amber Alert. That was investigated by the Justice Department, and they said they did what they were supposed to do. They met the state and federal protocols as to what constitutes an Amber Alert. The conversation that Jenni did with Sergeant Eaton is something you do not want to miss. That'll be in the back half of the program. 2 minutes after the hour on a 5-star Friday. We're going to give you a 5-star show today because it's Friday, or double your television viewing pleasure back. And there is the sun getting the job done. 6:49 is when it came up over the East Wenatchee bench. It'll dip down over the Cascades on the west side of the valley at 7:24. That's 12 hours and 34 minutes of daylight. Today will be 3 minutes and 25 seconds longer than yesterday. I do like these longer days, even though it's now almost still light out when I go to bed. From the Union Valley camera looking down over the Chelan Valley. Looks like the hills there are pretty greened up. That's pretty good. All the snow is all but gone now. At this point, it's late March. That's usually the case. We've had, of course, Marches where we didn't have the snow go away at all. It was more like April. Beautiful view of Nanapoc Ridge. Still snow at the Kaler Glen Golf and Ski Resort. They don't get as much sunshine, of course, with all the tall trees. There's lots of shadows, so it takes a little while for the snow to dissipate there. Still snow up on Dirty Face Mountain, and somewhere down there is Lake Wenatchee. It has not gone anywhere. And up to Billy Goat. Every view we get from Billy Goat, so long as we can see, is always beautiful. And there's another example of that. Looks like they might have a few high clouds up the Okanagan Way, but everybody's looking pretty good. Right now in Omak, the closest weather station we have to that camera, it is 27 degrees, and Omak is still a ways away from where that is, but still. It's going to be a nice weekend. From our friends at Colonial Vista Senior Living in Wenatchee, it's where comfort, care, and community come together. Sunshine, a couple of high passing clouds. That's just about it. 56 for the overnight low. We'll have high clouds tonight, 39 for the overnight low, and then we warm up to 60 on Saturday because our overnight low at 39, because of the cloud cover, is going to get us a little bit of a head start on warming up on Saturday, which is why we'll be about 4 or 5 degrees warmer tomorrow than today. 38 for the overnight low on Saturday night, same deal. A few high clouds will keep the heat in as best it can. Partly sunny skies on Sunday and a high near 56. The high pressure will stick around until about Tuesday afternoon. By Tuesday afternoon, the high pressure ridge is going to slide out of alignment. That will allow clouds to come in, and the cool, wet air coming down from the Gulf of Alaska will definitely be here on Wednesday, which is April 1st. It's going to be cloudy and rainy and quite cool to begin April as we say goodbye to March on Wednesday. So there's your forecast from the National Weather Service. Going to take a break and come back with your headlines. A lot of news to touch on, and you and I will do it together in about 2 minutes. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Your favorite local channel is now available for free on your smart TV and connected streaming devices. Watch live programming and catch up with the latest shows on demand. See the local stories that matter to you. NCW Life, now on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
Hi, I'm Amanda Walden with A. Walden Insurance Group. Medicare can be overwhelming, but you don't have to figure it out alone. I've been helping people understand their Medicare options for over a decade. Medicare isn't a one-size-fits-all. I'll help you understand your coverage options so you can feel confident in your decisions. Let's find the right Medicare plan for you. Call me today or come and see me at my office located on South Chelan Avenue in Wenatchee between the YMCA and the Social Security office. I look forward to meeting you soon.
At Colonial Vista Senior Living, we believe life is meant to be lived fully. Our wellness programs inspire residents to stay strong, flexible, and confident every day. Here, curiosity is encouraged, friendships are nurtured, and every activity is an opportunity to connect, create, and enjoy life together. We invite you to experience the lifestyle at Colonial Vista Senior Living for yourself and discover why so many call our community home.
This March, Lake Chelan welcomes food and wine lovers to an unforgettable experience. Taste Chelan. Chelan Valley's top wineries and restaurants create the perfect pairing of fine wines and culinary delights. With 4 weekends to explore, every visit offers something fresh and exciting. From your first sip to the last bite, every moment is a delicious adventure. But don't wait, tickets are selling fast. Visit tastechelan.com today.
Tis a wee bit chilly, 30 degrees here in the Wenatchee Valley. We'll be mid-50s today, a lot of sunshine, just a few passing high clouds. Warmer still Saturday. We're looking pretty good all the way until we get to about Tuesday afternoon. And then things are going to change quite a bit. We're going to go the other way with clouds and rain and much cooler temperatures by this time next week. It's just about 8 minutes after the hour in Chelan County Superior Court yesterday. The driver in that crash that killed 2 youth passengers last autumn appeared on charges of vehicular homicide. Jared Jeffrey Smith is now 19 years old. He heard the charges against him read by Judge Travis Brandt. Smith was the driver of an Audi sedan that spun out of control and crashed back on November 21st near the Easy Street roundabout. The collision killed 12-year-old Bentley Knight and 14-year-old Eric Figueroa, both of East Wenatchee. Smith himself suffered a traumatic brain injury. He was hospitalized until early December. On Thursday, Brandt appointed a public defense attorney to manage his case. He also placed Smith under a court order forbidding him to operate a motor vehicle until this case is over. He remains free on his own recognizance and must appear in court again on April 8th to be arraigned on the charges. The State Department of Labor and Industry is looking into 2 job site accidents in Chelan County, one of which, of course, killed a contract utility worker at Lake Chelan. 24-year-old Ivan Garcia of Mapton, he died in a fall back in January while working at the top of an electrical pole on South Lakeshore Drive. That's when the pole snapped beneath him. LNI says Garcia was working for Palouse Power. That's an energy infrastructure company based out of Quincy that was under contract with the Chelan PUD. In early February, a construction worker on the Majestic apartment complex in downtown Wenatchee fell 2 stories and was injured on that project. That incident is also under review by LNI. The agency says both cases are still in the inspection process and no safety citations have yet been issued to the employers. Douglas County Sheriff's deputies are investigating a case of a drive-by gunfire or shooting anyway in the area of Bridgeport. Apparently it happened on Tuesday on Highway 173 near the intersection with Dow Lane in the Bridgeport Bar area. Deputies say a driver was fired on by a passenger in another moving vehicle at about 6:22 on Tuesday evening. Nobody injured. Douglas County deputies investigated alongside officers from the Brewster Police Department, the Okanagan County Sheriff's Department, and the Washington State Patrol. The Washington Department of Natural Resources, the largest firefighting agency in our state, is looking ahead to the 2026 wildfire season. Public Lands Commissioner Dave Upthegrove heads the agency. He was in Wenatchee this week for the ribbon-cutting ceremony of Cafe's new headquarters on Lewis Street. The commissioner told us that the DNR is already plotting ahead several months of combating fires in the backcountry.
Central Washington is always ground zero for wildfires. People here live with it. It's a salient issue. People live in fear, quite frankly, because the smoke and fire impacts their property, their health. This summer is shaping up possibly to be a dry summer. Snowpack levels are low in the mountains. That's one indicator of possible drought conditions. We'll know more soon, but when you have dry conditions, the risk goes up. There is some good news I want to share, however. Last year, the legislature cut our funding in half for wildfire prevention and response, and I made it my top priority as commissioner and our agency's top priority to advocate to restore that funding. And the good news is that the legislature just completed their work and they fully restored 100% of our wildfire prevention and response funding. $60 million increase at a time of deep budget cuts. And so we feel we are prepared now to make sure we're purchasing the equipment, hiring the staff, and funding these community-based organizations in partnership so that we can keep Central Washington safe.
City of Leavenworth is re-examining the way it manages its drop-off recycling center. The site's been operated for years by the nonprofit Waste Loop Group, which is now moving away from doing that. Right now, recycling drop-off is available 2 days a week for glass, cardboard, yard waste, and other products. The city says that may change, and it's asking for public input on the matter. Leavenworth residents can contribute. You can take a survey, use the QR code that you see on your screen. That survey will help guide the city's next steps regarding recycling. Administrator says it takes about 7 minutes to finish up on the survey. The community ice rink in the town of Winthrop is entering the final stretch of a major capital campaign aimed at replacing its aging refrigeration system. The nonprofit community rink is now at about $162,000 away from its fundraising goal after securing some grants and getting donations from across the region, the country, and even internationally. Executive Director Ryan Bell says the rink's current system, which was already used, they bought it used in 2015, is now starting to get to the end of its usable life. The new system is expected to cost about $1.8 million. Plans also include safety upgrades, improved lighting, and a covered spectator area designed to make the rink more comfortable for the Methow Valley when it gathers there each winter. They had a recent skate-a-thon and it raised $40 grand. You can contribute to the capital campaign using the QR code that you see on your screen. And a sure sign of spring cleaning. It's happening right now. They started on Monday, getting the North Cascades Highway ready for traffic. Highway 20 west of Mazama closes down each winter right at Rainy Pass because obviously it snows a lot and they have avalanches a lot. Snow this year on the pass, lower than average like it has been almost everywhere, but the State Department of Transportation will still have to clear the debris from the avalanche chutes along the highway. The annual spring cleanup usually takes about 6 to 8 weeks to complete before Highway 20 is fully reopened. And that's the news at 14 minutes after the hour. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend. It's been a long week here at the Broadcast Metroplex, and well, we still got to do it. They will. They'll get together, they'll gather the news, disseminate the news, write the news, spit out the news, and out it comes on television, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock on the very channel you're watching right now. 5, 6, and 10, the NCAA Life Evening News. Don't forget we have softball tonight at 6 o'clock, so look forward to that. If you got a news tip, send us an email. We're pretty easy to get a hold of, news@ncwlife.com. Don't forget our news will be on YouTube right around 5 o'clock, specifically our YouTube channel. Makes it easy that way. Sports is next. We got Kraken, we got Mariners, we got Prep. It's an adult portion of sports, and we will not be checking identification. 2 minutes away. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Fibercrete fireproof safety rooms can be the difference between life and death for you and your family. Typical fireproof safety rooms are 8x8 Fibercrete panels providing a solid sanctuary. Fibercrete safety rooms can be above ground, buried underground, or built within new home construction. Best of all, a safety room by Fibercrete is very affordable. Call 360-770-2088. You owe it to your family to find out more about Fibercrete safety rooms.
Are you dealing with a pest or weed issue and you just don't know what to do?
We use the best pest control methods approved for areas with kids and pets.
Whether it's rats, mice, ants, or spiders,
or something else altogether.
We provide the coaching and solutions you're looking for.
And you can know that your dollars are supporting a local, family-owned and operated business.
Allow us to help you get back to living healthy and pest-free.
Harvest Valley Pest Control.
We've all dreamt of moving somewhere new. But what are home prices like? How are the schools? What are the state income taxes? And how's the weather? For all your questions, the Coldwell Banker Move Meter has answers. It's the only tool that lets you compare cities by cost and quality of living, so you can get a better idea of what your dream looks like and start making it come true. The Move Meter, only from Coldwell Banker. Live well with Coldwell.
When your heating or cooling system is giving you trouble, call the diagnostic doctor from Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning.
here's the culprit right here.
All joking aside, when you call Dick's, you're calling 35 years of experience at customer service right here in the Wenatchee Valley. Dick's strongly believes in repairing before replacing, and they service all major brands of HVAC units.
"17 minutes after the hour, he's a rookie. His name is Chase DeLauder. He made his major league debut last night for the Cleveland Guardians, and he led the way. He hit a home run. Then he hit another one in his major league debut, and the Guardians beat the Mariners 6-4 on opening night at T-Mobile Park. 4 of the Mariners' 6 hits were solo home runs, including 2 from Dominic Canzone, and third baseman Brendan Donovan, making his debut for the Mariners, hit a solo shot in his very first at-bat.
DeLauder, high fly ball, right field, it's deep. Raley's back at the wall, he leaps, he can't get it! Chase DeLauder with a home run in his season debut. The family wasn't sure, they were waiting to see, did the umpire raise that finger and circle it in the air? Yes, he did! 1-0 Cleveland. Chase DeLauder picking up right where he left off in Goodyear.
His 3-1. Donovan unloads, right field, this is gone! Brendan Donovan, welcome to the Mariners! What a way to say hello! Now that's how you make a first impression.
That's right.
Canzone plugs this deep out to the gap, right center field, Dom Canzone! An opening night bomb, and the Mariners have taken the lead.
Well, Dom Canzone picking up right where he left off. Talk about last year, right? Getting the chance to come up in that second half, having to wait it out in AAA, going off.
Ripped fair down the right field line. That should get 2 home. Hoskins scores. Here comes Schneemann. He scores 2, and Rocchio into second base with a clutch 2-run double as Cleveland takes a 3-2 lead.
Boy, he was quick on that swing. Hit a line drive past Naylor down at first base. Got out and really made a nice job to get to it to even have a chance to get it in. But he smoked it. That's a pitch he left inside, and he took advantage.
Raley, that is a missile. Oh, it just disappears. Luke Raley got it over the wall and has tied the game in the 5th inning.
We talked about how impactful his spring training was, getting a chance to play here on opening day, being the lineup. Good way to start the season for Luke Raley.
And now Jose slugs one to left field. A Rosarina going back.
Boy.
Over his head. One hops the fence. Go ahead run scores in Rocchio. Here comes DeLauder. Here's the throw to the plate. He's safe. And Jose Ramirez, in his 4th at bat of the night, delivers a tie-breaking 2-run double with 2 outs. Once again, Mr. Inevitable delivered.
Canzone, deep blast. You can't forget about it. Dom Canzone
Seville off the bat from Dom Canzone. 93 down and in. Crushes this ball. Same spot, right center.
Multi-homer game for Canzone. And a one-run game now at the bottom of the 7th.
And now Chase DeWater. Goodbye. Deep right field. Into the night it goes, and it's 6-4 Guardians.
Now Dad's up.
It's a 2-homer night for Chase DeWater.
Do you see how the ball just jumped off his bat? I mean, that was pretty.
I was going to ask you at some point, have you ever seen anybody that he reminds you of? That short stroke is so unique, and yet it generates so much power. Born in Cleveland, high school at Walsh Jesuit.
There you go.
And the former Buckeye lines out to Gabriel Arias, and you can book it. Game number 1 goes to the Guards. They win 6-4 here in Seattle. Behind the strong start of Tanner Bybee and near flawless execution by the bullpen. The big bat of Chase DeWater. He turned in a night to remember with 3 hits, 2 homers. And the Guardians spoil opening night in Seattle.
Teams continue. It's a 4-game series to start the season. A couple of righties will do battle tonight. George Kirby will take on Gavin Williams. You have to have Apple TV to watch the game. Don't ask me why. First pitch is at 6:45. Rest of the American League scoreboard. There's the Guardians knocking off the Mariners in an actual divisional game. The Angels shut out the Astros on opening day, and the Phillies got by the Rangers 5-3. Brandon Montour, just what the doctor ordered. He scored his 2nd goal of the game in overtime when they played 3-on-3. And the Kraken knocks off Tampa Bay in Tampa 4-3. This was a big victory for the Kraken. Bobby McMahon and Capo Keiko each had a goal and an assist. Philip Grubauer stopping 30 shots for Seattle, which snaps a 4-game losing streak.
Drawn to the boards. Chernak, utilizing his strength, gets it out. Fisker Molgaard on the way back.
Hensel takes that face off like Sidney Crosby there, John.
Yes.
Did you see that there?
Yeah, absolutely. Here's a chance. They score! Flashing through, Brandon Montour. At the tail end of the power play, 4:42 left to go in the first period.
And then Monty goes to work. A little forehand, backhand shovel here, JT. He buries it on Vasilevsky. But the quick transition, Monty jumping in all by himself, and doesn't get any better than that.
Stopping and starting is Brandon Hagel. He'll wind out. He's guarded by Beniers. Kucherov with a dart. He'll defer out to Dastu. Dastu feeds it around.
Good stick by Eberle there.
Now Hagel in control of it. Off the stick of Ryan Lindgren. They score! Anthony Cirelli was in the right place at the right time to cash in. And Tampa Bay is tied. Vince Dunn for Adam Larson back out. McMahon for a charging Chandler Stevenson. He cruises by Lilleberg to the slot. A chance. They score! That's hockey, baby. What a setup. It's Capo Caco. And the Kraken are back up by 1. Tries to thread a pass through McDonough. McMahon, good job there. Reset by Caco. Larson for Dunn. Dunn to the outside. Stevenson, Adam Larson with a shot fended off. McMahon puts it home. It's a putback for Bobby Mack. 16:25 left to go in the second period. 3-1, Seattle. And now Bobby McMahon will lay it along. Radish, breakaway. Jake Gensel walking in on Grubauer. He scores! Top shelf for Jake Gensel. And with 14:04 left to go in the second period, Tampa Bay within 1. Off the end boards, Oleksiak.
Good to see there.
Radish. Perry, they work it around, down low, a chance. There's Perry, he scores! Corey Perry! Right underneath the crossbar. It's a power play goal.
Patton leaves it, return feed, he's in deep, hangs on, Patton in front, looking for a backdoor play. Kucherov trying to jar it free, but Seattle's got it back. Wide open in front is Catton. Here's a shot, they score! Brandon Montour wins it for Seattle in overtime.
Nicely done. Their playoff hopes still alive with 11 games left, and now they're off to Buffalo to take on the Sabres. That'll be tomorrow afternoon at 2:30 on Kong TV. High school baseball, a couple of games played yesterday on the diamond. Omak knocked off Brewster. The final there was 14-4. Manson snuck by Cascade 11-7. Prep baseball today, some doubleheaders. You can check them out if you want. Moses Lake travels to Sunnyside. They're getting early at 1 o'clock. Sunnyside's field does not have lights, so you got to play before it gets dark. Grandview will beat a Friday doubleheader at 3:30, and the Panthers head over to Dan White Field in East Wenatchee to take on the Wildcats. First pitch of the first game of the doubleheader at 4 o'clock this afternoon. That is today. Here's your Saturday schedule. All doubleheaders. An early start for Tenasket and Brewster. 10 a.m. for the first pitch on the first game. That's early. 11 a.m. first pitch, first games. Okanagan and Lake Roosevelt. Columbia out of White Salmon will be at Chelan. Quincy will be at East Valley. Omak will be at Liberty Bell. Manson at Elmira Cooley Hardline at noon. And then at 1 o'clock, Kashmir travels down to Walla Walla to take on College Place in a doubleheader there. Prep softball scoreboard, clean sweep for Othello. No problems against the Jackrabbits. They won the opener 12-0, and they won the second game 20-3. Look at these football scores. In fast pitch softball, Brewster got by Omak by just one. Cascade rolled over Manson 29-10, and Oroville beat Bridgeport 30-19. These scores happen sometimes in prep softball. Here's the schedule today. Our cameras will be at the brand new complex at Triangle Park to see the Panthers and the Wildcats do battle. We will have that streaming. The first game will be here on NCW Live. Second game will be streamed and on TV. Waterville, Mansfield, and Wellpinit will do battle at noon, and a doubleheader between Sunnyside and Moses Lake starts at 3 o'clock. Prep softball schedule for Saturday. Again, all doubleheaders. Take a look and check out the Local 9. Help them out a little bit. Brewster will be at Tenasket at 10 a.m. tomorrow, 11 a.m. first pitch, first game for Friday at East Valley, and a noon start for Eastmont at Glacier Peak, Chelan at Colville, Liberty Bell at Omak, and Manson at Oroville. Let's go to the pitch. Kashmir had no problems with Warden. They knocked him off 7-1 yesterday. Cascade snuck by Omak 2-0. It was Wapato just past Ephrata 4-3, and Liberty Bell shut out Manson 1-0. The prep soccer schedule for today. Wenatchee hits the road to take on Davis at 4 o'clock. Same time for Tenasket hosting Okanagan and Brewster hosting Bridgeport. And then under the lights tonight, Eastmont will be at Eisenhower at 7 o'clock. Moses Lake travels to Sunnyside at 7 o'clock. Quincy will take on R.A. Long at 7:30. And the schedule for tomorrow looks something like this. Soap Lake and Manson starts early at 11 a.m. and then all the rest are the afternoon. Chelan will take on Kashmir. That'll be fun, the old Caribou Trail League rivals. Ephrata will be at College Place. Pateros and Liberty Bell, 3 o'clock start for Hawkinson, hosting Quincy, and Northwest Christian will be at Tenasket at 3:30 on the pitch. And those are just some of the games that people are playing. Friendly reminder for most of the school districts in our viewing area, spring break begins next week, and even though there are spring prep sports next week, the schedule will be considerably lighter. Just a heads up on that. Your obscure holiday on this 27th day of March. First of all, it's National Scribble Day, also known as my handwriting. National Paella Day. It's a World Theater Day. It's Quirky Country Music Song Title Day. But hey, hello, Joe. What do you know? It's National Joe Day. Always celebrated on the 27th day of March. If your name is Joe or Joseph, today is your day. Joseph comes from the Hebrew name Yosef. It means, quote, he will add, and it also means God will increase. Famous Joes, well, former president Joe Biden jumps to mind immediately. Baseball legend Joe DiMaggio, quarterback Joe Namath, Joe Montana, Joe Cocker, Joe Walsh, G.I. Joe. How popular is the name Joe? Not as popular as you would think. 30 years ago, Joe was the 231st most popular name in America. 20 years ago, Joe was the 596th most popular name in America. And as of this morning, Joe was the 455th most popular name in this country. But if your name is Joe, today's your day. It's bottom of the hour. Today in history, her name was Mary Malland. She was a cook, and she carried typhoid. Not good if you're a cook. She became known as Typhoid Mary. She was asymptomatic, which means she could carry the disease, but she couldn't actually get typhoid. She could just carry it and give it to other people. She was presumed to have infected 22 people, 3 of whom died over her career as a cook. She was twice forcibly isolated by public health authorities. And finally, on this date in 1915, 111 years ago today, they put her in quarantine for the rest of her life. She was in a room for the next 30 years, having no contact or very little contact whatsoever with anybody. They said, we got to do this because if we just let Typhoid Mary run around, she's going to get people sick and kill them. So they just locked her away in a hospital room for 30 years. She went in on this date in 1915. 62 years ago today, the most powerful earthquake in North American history and the second most powerful earthquake ever recorded since they came up with the equipment that can record the strengths of earthquake, seismograph equipment. And that dates to 1900. On this date, 62 years ago today, it was Good Friday, before the Easter holiday. This sucker was huge. A 9.2 earthquake strikes South Central Alaska. The earthquake itself only killed 15 people. The other 139 people, it killed 139 people. Only 15 died from the earthquake. Everybody else drowned because of the tsunamis. People drowned in Washington, Oregon, and California because of the massive tsunamis after this huge earthquake. And check this out. It's a 9.2 earthquake, all right? The earthquake lasted 4 minutes and 38 seconds. Now, I've felt earthquakes before, a couple of pretty sizable shakes in Southern California a couple of times, but a 9.2 earthquake that lasted 4.5 minutes? No, thank you. And on this date in 1977, 49 years ago today, neither plane was supposed to be at the airport where they were. They were supposed to land at the big international airport in the Canary Islands, but earlier in the day on March 27, 1977, a terrorist set out a bomb on that airport, and so all the airplanes destined for that airport were instead diverted to the small regional airport in Tenerife, which had just one runway, which had to be used both as a runway to take off and land as a taxi runway. So common sense would tell us that the deadliest airplane accident ever would be a plane falling from the sky and crashing. Nope. It was two Boeing 747 airliners who collided. They could barely see each other. The fog was so thick that when the first responders showed up, they did not know that there was two planes involved. 248 people, everybody on board the KLM airline, which was the one that was taking off, and 335 on board the Pan Am airplane, which was the plane on the runway trying to taxi. 61 survived, all of them on the Pan Am flight, the plane that was struck. This is the deadliest accident in history. The NBC Nightly News with David Brinkley.
In the horrible air crash in the Canary Islands, what is known now is that at least 578 people died, the worst ever. What is not known now is exactly what caused it to happen. Here on a diagram of the Tenerife airport in the Canary Islands with some models, we will show you what facts we have been able to get at this hour. The two planes were parked here at the terminal. Normally, to roll to the end of the runway, they would have used this taxiing strip. But it was crowded with parked airplanes, and so they both were rolled out this way. KLM in front, Pan American behind it. Exactly how far, we don't know. KLM rolled down here, off into this little side place, down the taxiway, to the end of the runway, and sat there waiting to take off. Pan American was rolling down behind it. At about this point, the tower said to the Pan Am pilot, "Are you clear of the runway?" He said no. At about this point, he saw the KLM plane charging toward him. He tried to turn into this ramp to avoid it. It was too late, and they collided at that point. With the result, as we say, 578 people dead.
It was very, very foggy. There was only one air traffic controller on duty. It was a Sunday afternoon. The pilot of the charter KLM, the Dutch plane, was put to blame. He simply decided to take off without getting proper clearance from the tower, and the runway was not clear, as we know by now. The deadliest accident in aviation history. I don't think it will ever be surpassed. Two 747s, both of them full. I don't think so. Stu, birthdays. Mariah Carey is 57 years old today. Her first 5 songs she ever released went to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, the first person to ever pull that off. Of course, she has a 5-octave vocal range. She has a tendency, in my opinion, to oversing just a little bit. There is such a thing as that. All I Want for Christmas Is You is the best-selling Christmas album of all time. She's the third biggest selling female artist of all time. Madonna is #1, Rihanna is #2, and this remarkable feat, she holds the record for the most Billboard Hot 100 #1 hits, 19, than any other solo artist. One more than Elvis, one less than the all-time record holder, the Beatles. 19 #1 hits, which is 19 more than I've had. For heat and air, call Alpine Air. For heat and air, call Alpine Air. They are our platinum sponsor. Since the Mariners are playing baseball again, Mike McNulty has another opinion about our favorite baseball team here in the Pacific Northwest. And then Jenni Rodas had a very fascinating and informative conversation with Sergeant Joe Eaton. He was the member of the Wenatchee Police Department who led the investigation into what happened to the Decker girls. Amber Alert is the topic, and that'll be on your television screen coming up. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
NCW Life Channel is your local TV station. We believe in being the spotlight and mirror to the communities we serve in North Central Washington. Programming on NCW Life would not be possible without our sponsors. Special thanks to our platinum sponsor, Alpine Air. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air.
Between juggling groceries, preparing meals, and lending a helping hand, you're a hero without a cape. But who's there to support you? Aging and Adult Care honors caregivers like you, the relatives, friends, and neighbors, helping loved ones remain safely at home. Aging and Adult Care offers chore services, respite, personal care, and more. Serving Chelan, Douglas, Grant, Lincoln, Adams, and Okanagan counties, call Aging and Adult Care at 1-800-572-4459 for caregiver support.
Welcome to Mountain Chick Floral, your go-to flower and plant shop in downtown Wenatchee. Explore their wide variety of unusual and fun plants. And when you buy a plant in a container, they'll pot it up for you absolutely free. Birthday or weddings, they'll create the perfect floral arrangement for you. Brighten up your office with fresh blooms delivered to your door or business. Ask about floral subscriptions. Visit Mountain Chick Floral today, where every occasion is a reason to celebrate with flowers.
Apple Valley Honda is bringing the future of driving to you. Introducing the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue EV. Say goodbye to gas stations and hello to a whisper-quiet ride and zero emissions. The wait is over. Finally, a local option for a quality EV from a brand with a track record of exceptional quality and reliability. Experience the Honda Prologue EV for yourself at family-owned Apple Valley Honda. Stay close to home and visit us at Apple Valley Honda today for the life you live.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog McNulty, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, I love my wife, Rosie. Yes, I do. But her obsession with the Mariners is driving me crazy. I mean, I'm trying to read a book. I'm doing work on the computer. Heaven help me. I'm trying to go to sleep. But she feels the need to update me on every pitch, every strike, every foul ball, every doggone thing that's happening that, frankly, I couldn't care less about. You know, my friends, my buddies, they understand that when God was handing out the sports gene, I stepped out for a beer. Rosie, though, somehow equates a shared love of the Mariners as some sort of barometer for our relationship. Now she can disagree with me about Janis Joplin, appropriate toppings on pizza, or my obsession with cop shows, and none of this is any indication that she doesn't love me. But me telling her that I could care less if Julio got a hit or struck out, man, we don't even want to go there. Oh God, this is Mike Mad Dog McNulty, and that's my opinion.
Your favorite local channel is now available for free on your smart TV and connected streaming devices. Watch live programming and catch up with the latest shows on demand. See the local stories that matter to you. NCW Life, now on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
You trust the same doctor for your health and the same dentist for your smile. Trust Global Car Care to keep your vehicle running strong. We track your car's history so it gets the right care at the right time. With our 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on parts and labor, you'll drive away with confidence. Global Car Care, your automotive experts. We service all makes and models, but specialize in Sprinter vans, Mercedes, Audi, Volkswagen, and BMW. Call or visit us today.
Highlander Golf Course and Grill, your place for fun, food, and friends. Happy hour every day, 2 to 7. Try their brand new menu and famous prime rib every Saturday night. Planning a celebration? Book your holiday party, wedding, or private event, even in their exclusive simulator rooms. Highlander Golf Course and Grill, where every day is a celebration. Visit today.
For over 35 years, the Sangster family has been not only representing GMC, but the entire community.
As one of the few family-owned dealerships in Washington, you can count on our personal integrity, which has spanned over 3 generations, to ensure your satisfaction.
Sangster Motors stands behind everything we sell, from GMC professional-grade products and service from a professional-grade dealership.
Remember, caring about your family is what brings you back to ours.
Joining us today is Sergeant Joe Eaton from the Wenatchee Police Department. How are you, Sergeant?
Doing well this morning. Thank you for having me in. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. As I mentioned over email, I am wanting to kind of hear Wenatchee Police Department's side of the timeline when the Decker girls were first reported missing. So can you walk me through the timeline of Wenatchee Police Department's communication with State Patrol after the girls were first reported missing?
Sure. So there's a pretty standardized procedure for that. A lot of it starts at obviously the patrol level, and they collect info and gather information from who they're contacting and who's filing the report, right? And so they do a substantial amount of investigating before we get to that point of the communication with State Patrol. We do have, policies in place that say an officer receives that complaint, that they work through with their supervisor to go through the information gathering stage to make sure that we have enough to kind of reach that threshold to even make contact with Washington State Patrol and the missing and unidentified persons unit with the State Patrol. So there's a lot of work that goes into it even before we reach that threshold.
Yeah. So what information did officers initially have, and how was that communicated to State Patrol?
Well, I'm not going to go into a ton of detail because obviously it's a very, very involved, very large case. But initially they responded to a call that was natured as civil because it was a parenting plan type call where a planned visitation had been overstayed. So Corporal Gonzalez, he's now a sergeant, had responded and met with Whitney, the mother, in the lobby, collected the information, and through great action of his own, started immediately diving in and researching. He utilized the information through, we call it Spillman, or through our database, to try to collect information. He also used our local resources that we had at the time. Flock was a huge asset to this investigation in the early beginning stages of it. All of that leads to when do we contact State Patrol and the missing and unidentified persons unit to even screen for an alert of any type. So he did that initial gathering, contact. He's put out an attempt to locate through the entire region so that we can look for the vehicle as well as to locate the girls. Throughout that, it's not a real decisive and clear-cut answer because there's so much involved to it and the decisions that have to be made along the way. But during the night of May 30th and into May 31st, I don't have an exact time of when he first contacted State Patrol to do the initial screening, but it was during that night shift when he reached out to them and started that screening process.
Yeah. Do you guys happen to know what background information was available to you guys during that time?
Like what kind of background information? What do you?
Talking about like his history. I guess I know he had some type of form of criminal history since he had been pulled over a little bit before. But I'm also wondering if you guys had access to any civil court documents from his divorce or the visitation plan with Whitney.
Yeah, so we were made aware that there was a parenting plan in place and that it had been followed, and it was very, at the time, it was known to us that this is the first time that an overstay had happened, or that it wasn't followed, or that communication wasn't taking place to say, hey, I'm going to be a little bit late, or can we switch days, or any of those things, you know, which those things happen with parenting plans. But what was reported to us is that this is the first time it's happened. Usually things go well enough that it's not a concern, but this time the girls were supposed to be returned at 8 p.m. and it was about 9:30 when the report came to us, when Corporal Gonzalez got involved.
Yeah. What role does Wenatchee PD play in providing information to State Patrol during that evaluation process?
Kind of touched on it, but if we just gather as much information as possible, knowing that ultimately it's up to State Patrol and the MUPU unit to say if it reaches the threshold for those alerts, whichever one we're seeking. So we gather that information, and then typically we'll start out with a phone call. There is a form that needs to be submitted through them to formally get the alert entered and broadcast. But so we'll start with a phone call. That way there's no delay, and we'll screen it through them, and they'll say, well, do you have, what factors do you have that would meet, say, an Amber Alert? One of those factors is the imminent danger of death or serious bodily harm. In this case, we didn't have that. So throughout that night, while Corporal Gonzalez and the whole region really was out looking and developing search plans for to locate the truck and the girls, in that time, we didn't have that element for imminent bodily injury or death. So an Amber Alert was not authorized at that time.
Yeah. In the report from the internal review that State Patrol had about the Travis Decker case, it said that during communications with Wenatchee PD, it wasn't communicated that there was a history of mental health issues or domestic violence. But in civil court documents during their visitation, there was a change in the parenting plan with Whitney and Travis. And in that plan, Whitney had brought up potential issues with his mental health, and he was court ordered to take anger management and domestic violence program. And that was never taken, and that also wasn't communicated with State Patrol. So I'm not sure, did Wenatchee PD have that information available at the time?
We eventually got that information. I'm not sure if it was the first night with Corporal Gonzalez, if we had that accessible at that point. But Saturday morning, the 31st, I was contacted, and I reached out to the on-call detective, which was Detective Hewitt. And he had already been tracking this incident. He's very active on checking our department emails, and he saw that, and he engaged even before I had called him. He advised me of efforts he had already been making and his plans for the day to contact the family and get more information, similar to what you're describing, and he obtained that throughout the day. And he stayed in contact with State Patrol through I don't know the exact number, 3 or 4 phone calls throughout Saturday into Sunday, and then also continuing into Monday. And they were, they were cooperative phone calls. The MUPU team was seeking, like, well, do you have these elements? And if we don't have them, we don't have them, right? And so it was a very cooperative effort. They were available at all times of the day, like they always are, and they answered the phone and discussed it, and ultimately the endangered missing persons alert was the one that was best fitting, and that one was put in place like midday on Saturday.
Okay. Do you know if that history of mental health issues and potential domestic violence was communicated with State Patrol on Saturday?
I guess I'm not certain to say confidently that it was or that it wasn't. I can say, knowing Detective Hewitt's style and his work history, and if he had that information, he definitely would have passed that along, because his goal was to obtain the Amber Alert from State Patrol, but ultimately he, through conversations with me and with them, deemed that missing endangered person alert was probably the best fitting for the circumstances.
Looking back at those early hours, what were the main priorities for investigators as they worked with State Patrol and other agencies?
Oh, the top priority was locating the girls, of course. The best way that we were going to be able to do that, we felt, with the information known, was to locate the vehicle. Again, with Corporal Gonzalez's very proactive approach and using our resources that we had at the time, Flock was huge, because it gave us a last known direction and a last known location of the truck and the girls. So it gave us a starting point. Those efforts that he put in led to, throughout the night, the whole region of law enforcement checking campgrounds, checking hotels, checking motels. We did have information that he didn't have a permanent residence, so he did spend a lot of time at hotels or campgrounds. And so those efforts were made throughout the night to check all those areas.
Yeah. Once the EMPA was issued, how did the investigation and coordination with agencies evolve?
I guess it intensified is the best way I can describe that. Higher alert detectives throughout the region were put on alert. Of course, all patrol are the kind of the boots on the ground, right? They're out there, they're everywhere. They could come across the truck or the girls or at any moment in time they could come across that. So using those attempt to locate broadcasts, the IMPA broadcast was huge. Obviously, that goes up in priority for all law enforcement when they see that, to be on the lookout for whatever's being broadcast. In this case, it was for the Decker girls.
Yeah. Looking back, is there anything investigators wish they had known sooner during those early stages?
Boy, hindsight's always 20/20, right? And they're not easy investigations. Any crime is not easy, because there's victims involved in this, and emotions are involved in it. So hindsight's always, man, if we would have known this sooner, if we would have known that sooner, if this technology would have worked differently than what it did in that moment in time. There's a lot of maybes and what ifs in that. But in the end, what we found in the investigation is that really, really good work was done. It's just a really, really tragic, sad incident and investigation.
Yeah. Okay. I have one last question, and this is kind of my curiosity, out of my curiosity. How does the correlation work with civil court and criminal court when, in these cases, when you're looking into background and history? Can you touch a little bit on that?
So they don't cross over directly, but we have access to the information, right? And so in those early, I'll say, days or hours of that investigation, any information we could get was sought after. It being a weekend made it a little bit tough, because we don't have access to the civil court documents. We have access to court orders, like restraining orders, no contact orders, things like that. We have access to that 24 hours a day. But the civil stuff, unless it's scanned directly into our system, which isn't super common for like a parenting plan, as an example. We'd have to go through the court directly for that. And so with that being a weekend, it was a little bit delayed for us to obtain all of that information.
Perfect. Thank you. I don't have any more questions. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
You know, I think it's just, it's so important to recognize that all the manpower that went into this and everyone's goal from the very get-go was to find the girls safe and sound. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But the efforts intensified once they were located, and we knew that we had to find Travis in that moment. And the community's support in that time was huge, not only for the families specifically, but also for law enforcement. We had federal agencies and SWAT team members from around the state, even out-of-state SWAT team members came in to help. And so I think that is just such an example of when there's a mission, when there's an investigation that needs to occur, the community and law enforcement can come together and work together to try to solve it the best way possible.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time to answer my questions.
Sure.
I'm Jenni Rodas. This is NCW Live.
Whether you're a new homeowner or looking to update, Save Mart in Wenatchee has everything you need. From top-of-the-line appliances to comfy mattresses and stunning furniture that fits your style, they have it all under one roof. With great deals and expert customer service, you'll find the perfect pieces for your space and your budget. Save Mart, your local destination for quality appliances, mattresses, and furniture at prices you'll love.
Mow, dig, haul, trench. The reliable Kubota BX Series subcompact tractor is highly capable. A smooth hydrostatic transmission makes for easy operation and versatile attachments that help you handle the job. The Kubota BX Series is the #1 selling subcompact tractor in the U.S. Talk to your Kubota dealer to schedule a demo.
Before we send you on your way, if you will let me indulge in a little shop talk in the weekend edition of the Wenatchee World, you will find inside of that this. It's the annual spring-summer guide that the Wenatchee World prints out every year, and it'll be, in the weekend edition of the Wenatchee World. It'll be on newsstands tomorrow, and you'll be able to go almost everywhere and get that. It's actually fall and winter on one side, and then the spring and summer on the other. From the National Weather Service, here you go. Your forecast. High pressure is now here, which means lots of sunshine, but a little chilly for the overnight lows. It'll be 56 today with quite a bit of sunshine. Some high clouds will keep things a little milder tonight, 39 for the overnight low, and then we do it all over again on Saturday. A little bit warmer because we're going to be off to a warmer start on Saturday morning, which is why we'll pop all the way up to 60 for the afternoon high on Saturday. Our normal high, by the way, is 56 for this time of the year. A few more clouds on Sunday, not bad at all. Things are looking sunny but cool on Monday and Tuesday. By Tuesday afternoon, things will change just in time for April. That's it for us, provided the show isn't canceled. I'll see you Monday. Bye-bye.